Dear students, welcome to my class of the subject Investment Analysis and Portfolio Management. In the previous lectures, we have talked about technical analysis, capital asset pricing model, and today I am discussing some of the case studies or the questions which are being asked on these topics in your examinations or for practical purpose. So, let us start. This is the first question, where we have a list of securities A, B, C, D, E, and the data is being given in this format. This is the estimated return which is being provided to us. This is the beta of these securities and this is the standard deviation of these securities as well as the market index. If you see this, the market index or the market portfolio is having a return of 15%, government security is giving a return of 7%, it is 0, means beta is 0 and standard deviation is 0, it means this is a risk free security. So, since directly it is not being provided in some questions, so we have to consider, we have to find out which one is a risk free security, and here the risk free security is government security, and this is the market portfolio. Market portfolio means which is having all the assets or all the securities in the market. So, this is called as the market portfolio. Now, we have been provided these things. We have the estimated returns, we have beta, we have standard deviation, we have risk free security return and risk, and we have market portfolio return and risk. So, the question is that how to evaluate these securities in terms of pricing, means we have to find out whether this particular security A is underpriced, it is overpriced, or it is underpriced, or it is correctly priced. So, we have to find out whether these securities are correctly priced in the market or not, and then we have to calculate the expected return and the risk of the portfolio. So, if we see in this question, we have been not provided like how to make a portfolio, means on what proportion we should add on the security. So, we have to assume, because it is not given in this question. So, we have to assume that all the securities would be combined in the same ratio. So, how to solve this this question, or if this kind of case is being provided to you, and if you are a portfolio manager and you have to make a portfolio. So, how you would derive a portfolio, and you will compare the risk and the return of the portfolio. So, we have to calculate two things. One is the expected return. Expected return we will calculate as per the CAPM model, and if you remember, CAPM model has given us a equation which is equals to that expected return of any security or portfolio is equals to the risk free return plus return on the market portfolio minus risk free return into beta I. Short me if I want to write it. So, this expected return would be equals to the RF plus RM minus RF into beta I. Beta I is the systematic risk of security I, and if we talk about in terms of the portfolio, so this would be beta P. So, this is how we will calculate the expected return, and since we are already provided the estimated return, then we have to compare these two things, expected return with the estimated return, to find out whether the security is overpriced or it is underpriced. If the returns are better than the estimated returns, we will say it is overpriced and we should buy it, we should sell it, and if the expected returns are low as compared to the estimated return, we should buy it because it is underpriced, and if they are equal, so we will say it is correctly priced, and then we will use this formula, these two formulas to calculate the total risk of the portfolio and the return of the portfolio. So, let us start how we will calculate. This is being provided to us. We have to calculate expected return according to CAPM model, means we want to find out whether these securities would lie on this SML line or not. So, if they lie above, we will say overpriced, and if lie below, we will say underpriced. Okay. So, the formula we know what is the formula, it is equals to expected return will be equals to the RF plus RM minus RF into beta I, as I have already said. So, RF would be same for all the securities which will be equals to 7%. RM would also be same for all the securities which will be equals to 15%. So, we will calculate this value of expected return for the security A. It will be equals to, what is the value of RF? 7. We have to take the return values as it is, means we do not have to divide, we have to divide it by 100 because the values are given in percentage. So, we have to take it them as in percentage only, because the answer would also be in percentage. So, we will take 7 and this RM is equals to 15, 15 minus 7, and what is the value of beta of security I? It is equals to 2. So, we will multiply it by 2. Similarly, for security B, what we will do? We will use the same thing, 7 plus 15 minus 7 into what is the value of beta? It is 1.5. Similarly, it is 7 plus, I am writing here 8 because every time I would be writing same thing. So, 8 into value of beta is 1, here it will be 7 plus 8 into value of beta is 0.8, here it will be equals to 7 plus 8 into 0.5. So, if we calculate this value, it will be equals to 7 plus 8 into 2, it means 8 into 2 is equals to 16, 16 plus 7 will be equals to, we will get 23, here we will get 7 plus 8 into 1.5. So, if we multiply this, we will get 7 plus we will get 19, here we will get 7 plus 8, this is plus, we will get 15, here we will get 7 plus 6.4. So, it will be 13.4, here it will be 7 plus 4, it will be equals to 11. Now, we have to compare these two things, 30 and 23, 25 and 19, 20 and 15, 11.5 and 13.4, 10 and 11. So, if we compare these two things, this with this, for security A, we are here it is evident that security A is giving us 30% return, but according to CAPM it should have provided us 23% return. What does it mean? It means that it is giving us better returns. So, this 23 should lie on this line, but it is giving us 30%. So, security A would be underpriced, it is giving us better returns. Similarly, security B is giving us 25% return, but according to CAPM it should give us only 19%. It means in actual it is giving us better return. So, it is also underpriced. Security C is giving us 20% return, but in according to CAPM it should have provided us 15% return. It means it is giving us better returns. So, it is also underpriced. Security D is giving us 11.5% return, but according to CAPM it should have given us 13.4% return. It means it is not giving us this expected return, it is giving us less returns. It means this would lie below this line, it will be overpriced. So, security D would lie below SML line. and security E, we see 10% it is providing us and 11% it should have been provided by CAPM model. It means it is also not performing well, it means it is also overpriced. So, D and E would lie below the line, A, B and C would lie above the line, and above the line means they are underpriced. These A, B, C are underpriced and D and E are overpriced. So, if we have to take some decision, buy or sell decision, we should have bought A, B and C and we should have sold D and E if we have already purchased these securities in our portfolio D and E. So, now this is the first part of the question where we have to evaluate the pricing of the securities. Moving to the second part, what was the second part? Second part was what is the expected return of portfolio and risk of the portfolio. So, here we would be using these two formulas. So, now I have to calculate what is the expected return of the portfolio. Since it is not being provided to us, how much proportion of each security should be combined in the portfolio. So, I would be assuming that all the securities would be combined in the same proportion. It means if there are 5 securities, so we will be investing 0.20 in each security. So, this total expected return of the portfolio would be equals to RF plus RM minus RF into beta p. To calculate this, we have to calculate the beta p. What is beta p? Beta p is the systematic risk of the portfolio, and a beta p is equals to beta I into omega I, where I is equals to 1 to n. What is n? N is the number of securities in the portfolio. Since in my portfolio there are 5 securities, and what is the proportion of each security? Proportion is equals to 0.20. So, how I would calculate beta p? Beta p would be equals to, for every security I have to multiply two things. What is the proportion? Proportion is same for all the securities, 0.2, and what is the value of beta? For A it is 2, for B it is 1.5, for C it is 1, D it is 0.8, for E it is 0.5. So, if I do so, I will get these values. On adding these values, beta p will be equals to 1.16, and if we put this value of beta p in this equation, so we can calculate the expected return of the portfolio. It is equals to RF. RF we have calculated 7%, it is being given 7%, RM is 15, and putting these values 1.16, we will have 7 plus 8 into 1.16. Our answer would be 7 plus 16.28%. So, our portfolio, this portfolio of these 5 securities would be giving us return of 16.28%, and the risk, the systematic risk of this portfolio is 1.16%. So, this is how we can solve this numerical. Move on to the next question. The next question is find out the trend and the chart pattern which is indicated in the given chart. Now, we have to recall the chart patterns which we have discussed in the technical analysis, and if we see in this data, I can see that this is the pattern which is formed, and this pattern is called as rounding bottom formation. This pattern is called as the rounding bottom formation. The first part of my question is what is the trend. So, what is the trend? If I draw a freehand line, what is the trend? Trend is falling downward. So, it is indicated that there is a bearish trend in this particular stock. It means the prices are falling down. In the long term, the prices, if we can see, the prices are falling down, but there is a pattern. The second part is the pattern. I have found a pattern which is called as the rounding bottom formation. This pattern, rounding bottom formation, is indicating me that there would be a trend reversal. It is indicating me that the trend would reverse from bearish to bullish. It means I should buy this stock because in future the prices would be increasing. So, this is how the chart pattern can be used. My next question is, for this data calculate 14 days RSI and indicate the signal. See, to calculate the RSI, what we have to do? We have to calculate per day gain and loss for all these days. So, if we find out the gain and loss for each day, if we compare the prices, there is loss, every day there is a loss, यहाँ तक there is a loss. If we go on, there is a loss, and यहाँ से if we see, there is a gain. So, generally there are losses. So, the trend, if we see, there is a bearish trend. One thing is being identified, the prices are falling down, but from 5th August the prices have started rising. What is the rise in the price? If we calculate the gain, so for every day we have to compare these things. So, we have to calculate gain per day, loss per day, and we have to calculate this RS. RS is equals to what? Average gain. We have to calculate average gain per day and divide by average loss per day. So, what is the methodology? How we will calculate this RSI? We will calculate gain per day, loss per day for all these days. These are around 23-24 days. We will calculate for each day, and then we divide. We take a sum of all the gains for 14 days, since RSI is always calculated for 14 days. So, we will take the sum of 14 days values, and then we will calculate average gain per day, average loss per day, and we get the relative strength, and then we put on this in the formula 100 minus 100 upon 1 plus RS. So, this is how RSI value would be calculated. If this RSI value is greater than 70, we will say we should sell it. If it is less than 30, we should buy it. But if we see in this numerical, R value can never cross 70, and this can also, this would lie, means this will, since it is a very small, there are very small changes. So, my values would be very small, and it will give me a value which is less than 30. So, this is indicating that this particular stock should be bought if I calculate all these values by using the formula. So, this is how one can solve this numerical. Then there is a question that a stock X has a beta equal to 0.9, Y has a beta 2.0. What is the beta of the portfolio? It is very simple. We have beta of X equals to 0.9, beta of Y equals to 2.0, and if we develop a portfolio of these two stocks X and Y, so now my portfolio would have beta of portfolio would be equals to, what is the proportion of fund invested in X into multiply by beta of X plus proportion of fund invested in stock Y multiply by beta of stock Y. So, this will be equals to, since it is saying that invested equally, it means there are only two stocks. So, what is the proportion? 0.50, beta is 0.9 plus 0.50 into 2.0. So, we will calculate this value equals to 0.9 it will be equals to 0.55. So, the value of portfolio beta would be 0.55. The systematic risk would be 0.55. We have another question where Ram has to make a portfolio of Wipro, HUL, HCL stock, and he has been provided a beta of these stock 1%, 3.5, and there is a risk free security in the market which is giving 4% return, and the return on market index is equals to 11%. So, again we have to use the CAPM model to find out the return on the equals to RF plus RM minus RF into beta P. Here in this question we have been provided RF is 4%, RM is equals to 11.5% and beta P is not being given. So, we will calculate beta P by using this equation, using the beta of Wipro or HCL or HUL. So, we will take individual betas and multiply it by their respective. Using this equation, as I have earlier taught, this we can calculate the beta P, and then we can find out what is the return and what is the risk of this particular portfolio as per CAPM model. Then we have another question where we have a chart and we have to suggest the trend on finding out the head and shoulder formation. Let us recall what is head and shoulder formation. Head and shoulder formation means there is one shoulder, one head, for another shoulder. So, there are two shoulders and one head, and this line is called as the neckline, and if this shoulder is penetrating this neckline, it is indicating a trend reversal. This is the head and shoulder formation, and this is the inverted head and shoulder formation. If this line penetrates this line by more than 5%, it again indicates the trend reversal. This head and shoulder formation takes place during the, it indicates the bullish to bearish phase, and it indicates the bearish to bullish phase. So, what it indicates? It indicates that there is bullish phase in the future, and it indicates that there is bearish phase in the future. So, if we see in this whole chart where we can find out this kind of pattern. So, if we see in this chart, this pattern is being visible. We can see that this is the head and shoulder formation, again there is the head and shoulder formation, again there is the head and shoulder formation, there is the which is this is also similar to head and shoulder formation. So, we can see that there are head and shoulder formations in this chart pattern, and when what they are indicating? They are indicating that there is bullish phase in the near market. It means the investor should buy this kind of security, because in the near future there is a trend reversal from bearish to the bullish market. Yes, the prices are moving down, but yes, there is some momentum which is increasing these prices. So, there we can identify what kind of trend we have identified, that right now there is bearish trend, but due to the head and shoulder formation there would be the bullish trend in the future. So, one should buy this kind of stock, this kind of signal is being indicated. This one prominent thing which we need to understand, that there are two approaches of security analysis in the investment management, which is used by the investment manager. There are two different approaches, alternate approaches, which are called as fundamental analysis and technical analysis. What is fundamental analysis? Under the fundamental analysis, one analyzes the fundamentals which are affecting the security, which are affecting the stock. What are the fundamentals which are affecting the stock? So, there are three kinds of fundamentals which are affecting the stock. There are economy related factors, there are industry related factors, and there are the company related factors. These factors are affecting the returns of the security. Economy related factors, for example, there is corona in the market, there is recession in the market, there is high inflation in the market, because of the cost of production has increased, cost of providing services has increased. So, that is why this is having a negative impact on the returns of the security. Again, there are industry related factors. Then what are the industry related factors? The demand and the supply. And we can see in this scenario, the demand for the industries is now decreasing. So, their products are not being able to sold at higher prices. So, that is why their profits are low, and this is impacting the returns of the security. Then there are the company related factors. Company related factors like management, like how, at what price they are purchasing their raw material, what salaries, overheads they are paying. So, this is also impacting the company. The sum total of these factors is affecting the security returns. So, the impact of these factors is analyzed by the fundamental analyst to find out what would be the security's intrinsic value or worth in the market. So, if security's worth in the market is good or high, so we should purchase it, otherwise we should not purchase it, we should sell it. The another approach, alternative approach, is the technical analysis. In the technical analysis, what technical analysts do? Technical analyst identifies the trend of the market. What he do? He understand, he analyzes the historical price volume relationship. He plots the closing prices or the different prices on some charts, find out some patterns, calculate some indicators, market indicators or mathematical indicators, and then analyze that is there any buy signal or sell signal, whether we should buy or sell. So, we can say that that fundamental analyst is analyzing the security's worth. Why he is analyzing? Because he wants to find out whether we should buy or we should sell. And what technical analyst is doing? He is analyzing the historical price volume data to find out whether when should buy and when should sell. So, that is why both the analysts are doing the same thing, means they are buying or selling the security, but their method of analyzing is very different. That is why we are saying these are two alternative approaches of the investment analysis or the security analysis. So, this is the basic conceptual difference between the two terms. Here the objective of fundamental analyst is to find out the intrinsic value. Intrinsic value is the worth of the security, is it worthy or not. And here the technical analyst objective is to find out the trend, what is the trend in the market, whether there is bullish trend or there is a bearish trend. What data fundamental analyst is analyzing? He is analyzing the factors which are affecting the stock, economy related, industry related and company related. What he is analyzing? Technical analyst, he is taking historical price volume data. He is taking this historical data to find out some indications, some patterns. Time period, this analysis would be indicating, this would be giving us long term, this decisions can be taken for a long term. So, long term trend is being identified with the help of the fundamental analyst, and technical analyst is finding out the short term trend, because the data is very limited. The complexity, this is very difficult to use, because it is it's a time taking process, and it has to be done by some analysts, some experts of the market. But it is easy because there are ready made technical tools which we can see on the stock exchanges websites as well. So, I hope the difference is clear, and let us meet in another lecture with some other topic. Thank you.